Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's event, Power BI New Features Coming Your Way. To participate in today's event, please refer to the buttons on the bottom left corner of your viewing area. This presentation is being recorded and you're in listen-only mode. There will be a question-answer session at the end of today's event, and your presenter will take questions post-event. You may enter a question at any time by clicking on the Messages button and typing your question into the box. If you have any difficulties with viewing the stream, please refresh your screen by pressing F5 on your keyboard. I would now like to turn today's event over to your presenter, Suresh Ural. Suresh, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Tasha. Thanks everybody for joining me and Lighthouse for this presentation on Power BI, the new features coming our way. So a little bit about myself. I'm an architect, consulting manager at Lighthouse Computer Services, over 20 plus years of experience in Microsoft technology. Cloud productivity, Office 365, Exchange Online, SharePoint, Link, Active Directory, rights management, etc. is my specialization. I enjoy helping my customers to solve their business problems, building a vision, strategy, processes around the latest and relevant technology. About Lighthouse Computer Services MTG, we provide full spectrum of services from envisioning, project management to solution realization. We specialize in Office 365, Azure, web, and custom app development. We have experience in many verticals. Please visit us in LinkedIn or follow us on Twitter for the updates. Agenda for today. We will start with a quick overview of BI and look at current state of Power BI that is in general availability today and see what is changing and what new features and tools are coming our way. Business intelligence, or BI as we call it, is a set of theories, methodologies, tools, and techniques that we use to transform raw data into something meaningful and useful that our business can make use of. Traditionally, business intelligence is IT managed with all processes and security and requirements, etc. This is organizational BI with some heavy set tools from a data store and reporting perspective. In Microsoft Word, organizational BI is built around SQL Server-centric tools as integration services, analysis services, and reporting services. Now, other end of spectrum is the ad hoc reporting, where we provide for more agile discovery from an end user perspective. Now, this is becoming more and more popular. From Microsoft perspective, this ad hoc reporting is built around self-service BI through MS Excel and different add-on tools that provides us with end user exploration. Now, if we throw SharePoint into the mix, then we get some interesting scenarios. The business users can now share and collaborate not only the report, but also the queries that they generate. Now, the advantage there is I build the query, I do not build the views, let others build their own views. It'll be pretty interesting. Let's see what those are. Excel 2010, if you have used, you probably have noticed a data tab. This gave us a way to connect to different data sources, whether the data was on the web or within corporate data sources. We could get these data into Excel, and once in Excel, we could make use of Power Pivot to create tables, build some relationship around those tables, and all using pretty nice GUI, actually. No need for us to be a BI geek and know all the technical terminology. Now, Power Pivot also adds, it also helps with pushing some of the limitations of Excel. Excel had limitation with 1 million rows and columns. whereas with Power Pivot, we could go 2 billion rows and columns. Now, some of you might have made use of the same already. The add-ins provide for ad hoc reporting and puts the discovery and the reporting capabilities right in the hands of people who knows the data. That's the business users. SharePoint on-prem gave us BI capabilities using SQL Server or otherwise. For example, we could use BI Center site collection template to help us centrally store and manage data connections, dashboards, etc. Performance point services enabled us to create dashboards, reports, and Visio and Excel services enables us to load workbook and perform calculations over a web browser. Fast forward to Office 365, we have Power BI, an all-new way to explore, analyze the data within SharePoint Online. Power BI, as available today, is a combination of self-service BI in Microsoft Excel and the power of collaboration from anywhere and on any device with SharePoint Online. With self-service, we can use an all-new set of Microsoft Excel add-ins that enables us to discover, analyze, and visualize our data. Excel is the most commonly used analytical tool for business users, and most of us, it's a very familiar territory. Using the self-service BI toolset, we can iterate through our reports, build POCs and experiment on data within the business, and then push the baked requirement back into our stable managed IT to make it a organizational BI for everybody else in the organization. Within Excel, Power Query add-in helps to discover the data, providing us with many different connections. We can connect to data over the web or in SQL or Oracle database within our corporate network. It even has the connections to HD Insight or Hadoop, big data sources, or to SaaS providers as Salesforce. Power Pivot add-in helps to shape the data as queried using Power Query, build those tables, build the relationship, and add any KPIs. Now, once the data is in our Power Pivot, we could use Power View or Power Map add-in to build our visualization. There are some pretty cool reports that we can build over there using using a tool that we already are familiar with, Microsoft Excel. Now, reports as we build, we could upload that to Power BI-enabled sites in SharePoint Online, and these reports will be available in Power BI site, which is a specialized site in SharePoint Online that brings together all our reports so we can organize them as featured or favorite, etc. Power BI also brings us a new and very smart feature called Q&A. Our executives and business users can now query the data in SharePoint Online using plain old English. The engine is smart to choose a correct data set and build an appropriate visualization for us. Power BI is mobile friendly with available applications for Windows and iPhone, making it useful for us to access from anywhere. Currently, the pricing on Power BI, $10 per user per month, if you already have E3 and E4. If you do not have E3, E4 licensing, you can still get a standalone version of Power BI at $18 per user per month. Feature set we get includes the natural language query with Q&A, BI sites to organize our reports, and mobile BI services. And also, we have the ability to configure a scheduled data refresh. The reports, as we upload, could be refreshed periodically so as to help our executives and decision makers to make those important decisions that they need to make with the latest and greatest information. With that, let's take a quick look, quick demo with the tool set that we have today and what can be done with that. So you should be seeing sales and marketing screen in front of you. Now this is a pretty regular intranet portal. On the top you have the main navigation link. On the left you have the immediate navigation link, and there is some content. This content here itself is not of importance for us from this webinar perspective. But however, if you see on the left side, there is a link for Power BI in the immediate navigation. Now, selecting that Power BI link takes me to that special site in SharePoint Online called Power BI site. Power BI site brings together all the reports that we have uploaded into SharePoint Online in one site. It gives us a way to organize so that if we want to highlight certain reports as something people should be more looking for or would be looking for, we could do so. Now, if I go down the page, you see that BI documents, drag and drop here, same as documents, drag and drop here. Now, SharePoint 2013 brought in some good usability features into for our everyday users. Now, from a content management perspective, to add a document, etc., we don't have to go through many number of clicks. We can just drag and drop the document. Now, the same feature, the same user experience is available with Power BI sites as well. So if I created a report in Excel, I could just drag and drop it into the area. Once the data and the Excel sheet is brought in, I could go select the ellipses like on the report. As I select over here, you will see some of the features that I can, functionalities that I can apply. So I can select a particular report and say, make it as a favorite, or add it to a featured report, or enable it to Q&A. Q&A is a natural language query processor functionality that I will talk about in shortly. So I have to make it enable, I have to enable it for Q&A in the first place for that to be available though. I could also set up for schedule data refresh, edit or delete, etc. Some of the functions that I can do. Once I set the report into favorite, those report or featured report, those reports will be available right at the top. So giving me and my users a chance to go for and look for those reports that they use most. Now, with that, let's take a look at some of the visualization that is possible with Power BI today. So I'm going to open a smartphone analysis report over here. But from the time perspective, I've already opened that up in a new tab, and I'm just going to go through that. So as you can see, you are seeing a report of sales information for Contoso. Contoso is a retail electronic manufacturer. So M3400 are two of the phones that they manufacture and been selling. As you can see, there is roughly about $3.5 million of sales for M300 and just under shy of $3 million for M400 over here. Now, BI is all about looking at a big picture and drilling down so we know what has happened, so we can plan for sustainability as well as the future, how we can improve on our business and processes. So to help with that, on the left side, if you see, there is channel, promotion type, continent, etc. These are the filters that I can apply to this report here and start analyzing what I have. So yeah, I have this $3.5 million. That's great. Now if I want to see how much has been sold through my stores, I use the store filter here. Now, as it applies the filter, you should see that the report changed now, the line graph changed. Now, I have about roughly about $450,000 in sale from stores. That's way below 3.5 million that we were doing totally. What about online? If I select online, I will see that it too is like much more closer to about $300,000. So if I see reseller, the reseller must be doing most of the sales. That's what, well, as it's shown in the report over here, it's resellers are doing anywhere from $2 million to about $3 million in sales. So they must be doing something that something right over there that we need to pick up on, right? So this is what you take a look at the big picture and drill down and try to do some analysis and put some corrective process as needed. Now, as you can see, I have created several other reports over here. If I look at the forecasting, there is some revenue information. I also have Twitter data that is brought into my reporting here. It has average sentiments, the number of tweets over time, its timeline report. And I also can use visualization with map and see, give a representation of where these Twitter users are coming from. As you can see, quite a number of users from Europe as against North America here. And there are a couple of other reports like online sales and store sales, as well as customer demographics. Now, from all these tabs, one thing of interest to note here, there is no tab that contains my data. If you have used Excel as any other traditional user, you probably brought the data into Excel and you have rows and columns of data. Maybe you did some aggregation at the bottom, average, etc. Maybe you did create some kind of tables and charts, maybe, right? But that data itself, is not showing up within any of these tabs here. Interesting. So we will look at it, a little in a short while, see how that is done and where these reports are getting the data for. Now, as good as some of these reports are, there are various visualizations that are built in. What if our users want new visualization for some of these data that I already have? Do we need to start, bring down this Excel sheet and start working on it and start building the new visualization? Yeah, maybe that's one way. But there is a new feature in Power BI called Q&A. So Ask with Power BI Q&A, and that's what it is. So if I select Ask with Power BI Q&A, it gives me a place where I can start asking questions. So in this case, I knew that there was some Twitter data. So I will say number of tweets. As I am typing in my question, you can see that there is some suggestions that are coming up. And Power BI understood this question and given me total number of tweets, 2.7 million. That's great. That's a pretty decent number. I saw the numbers at the top. While it gives some information, I need to dig down to find out something more about what is happening. So let's say I want to say number of tweets. I want to find out I want a segregated answer by sentiments, let's say. So number of tweets by sentiments. So as I start typing in, Power BI starts, again, giving me suggestion. And again, it interpreted my question in plain English and giving me a representational view of the report. Now, this is good. I see that positive and negative. It's almost like, similar, I would rather have a lot more positive than negative. So, but let's see, where these tweets are coming from. So if I say number of tweets by sentiments, by geography, I correct that spelling over there, by geography, and enable the content. Now, Power BI changes the visualization now to a map. So Power BI Q&A is smart to understand natural language query, translate that to what my data model was within my Excel sheet, but also it is smart to think that, maybe for this particular question, a map may be a way to visualize the data, maybe a bar chart. So that's how it transitions. So it's pretty smart that way. Now, yes, there are situations where this default representation by Power BI may not be the right one for our situation. In that case, we could always go and change the chart by selecting the different chart capabilities that we have in Power BI. So I selected from map to pie chart, and I get the pie chart over there. I could use the bar chart if I want and see a bar chart for the same data, different visualization. Okay, so we saw the use of Power BI from report visualization perspective. Now, how did we build this? Let's take a quick look at that. So I have this Excel open here. My target is to create a sales by sales period report. Now, as I mentioned, Contoso is an retail electronic manufacturer. So we have, as you saw with the Excel report over there are retailers who sell our product, and they do send their sales data in an Excel sheet. So I want to query the data and build a report for me and for my team. How do I do that? So the new tool set, new add-ins available for self-service within Excel are Power Query for discovering the data. So I'm going to look for Power Query at the top menu over here. Selecting that, the ribbon changes, and from the ribbon here, you can see that there are many different connectors that are available for me to get the data from. So if I say from database, I have SQL Server database connection, even SQL Server in Azure I can connect to. I can connect to analysis services within on-prem or Oracle, DB2, etc. I could also connect to SharePoint list, actually. I can get the data from SharePoint list and do some analysis within Excel. I could connect to Hadoop sources, HDFS or HD Insight hosted in Azure. I could also connect to Facebook, actually, and get some data over there, social feature data. So I don't know whether you do this. Quite a bit of companies are now connecting to social, tapping into social network, getting the data from there, do some analysis and showing some trends. And I could also connect to Salesforce, like SaaS sources as Salesforce, and get the data from there and do some reporting as well. So from today, from this demo perspective, I want to build a report, and the report data is coming from my resellers, and they are sending it to me in an Excel format. So for that, I go and selecting form file. I see that there is an option to connect to Excel. So I select from Excel. Now the data is available in my OneDrive sales folder, reseller sales data XLS. So I select that. And as I select and go through the process over there, Power BI goes about querying the data source and bringing me a picture of all the data that is available in my data source. So in this case, there's only one data set over there, 8 weeks reseller sales. So it is giving me that information on the right side here within the navigator. Hovering over that, I get a preview of the data that is available in the data set. Now, I could bring this data as is. Maybe sometimes this data is ready for my consumption. Maybe sometimes it's not. As you can see over here, this data set has column 1, column 2, column 3 for heading, which is generic. But underneath that first row, seems like the first row is actually the column name. So I know that I cannot use it as is. I want to make some changes over there. Also, if you notice, there are columns here, sales, quantity, unit price, etc. These are numerical values, although they are numerical values, they're all left aligned. That tells me that Excel, especially in Excel, Excel left aligns data if it thinks that it is a text value. So I think that's what is happening here. So there are two things that I want to look for, I want to do. One is I want to change first row to column. The other thing is some of these columns I want to change the data type. If I don't change the data type, I will have problems from perspective of any aggregation that I do later. So to do that, I will go and edit this query. Now, as I select edit, it takes me to the Power Query Editor interface. Now, as you see, there is a menu over there and a ribbon. In the ribbon, I have an option to say, use first row as headers. So selecting that is what I want to do first. And by selecting that, column 1, column 2, generic columns are gone. My first row has become my column name now. So I achieved my objective 1. The sales quantity and all these other columns, they're all right aligned. Maybe, it's numbers here, but I want to make sure. So I'm going to select these columns and go to this other option I have, transform. And if I see the data type over here, it has any. Any stands for typically a text column. So I'm going to be specific over here, and I want to make it as a decimal number. So I achieved two things. I reset the column names. I also changed the column type. Now, as I am doing these changes on the right side over here, applied steps, Power Query is recording everything that I do. So all the steps are recorded here, just in case if I want to go back to make some changes. So if I say first row as header and go back to navigation, you see that it's gone back to what my original data was. So this is good. Now, there may be, there are some programming geeks over there. If they want to have better control, if they want to do some more manipulation with it. So it is also possible to, Power Query also makes it possible to do that. So if I go to View and go to Advanced Editor, all that we did is available as in a programming model that we may be used to, for some of us may be used to. This particular model, this language is called as, generically called as language M. So if we know the language M and if we know how to use that, we could come here, do some manipulation, and do some more automation out of this. So in this case, I'm not interested in doing any of those. I'll just say cancel out of this. Now I want to bring this data into my Excel. Actually, no, I don't want to bring it into Excel. There are some disadvantages bringing it into Excel, as we saw with number of rows and columns. So I will select this close and load option here, and the second option has a ... ellipsis, which tells me that there are some more options available as I load the data. So selecting that, I see that there is it says select how you want to bring the data, as a table or only create a connection. I don't want to bring it into my Excel table over here. So I'll say create a connection and add this data to the data model and say load. Now, what happens now is Power Query gets the data from the original data source and loads up my Power Pivot. Data model is done through Power Pivot in Excel. Now, if you go to Power Pivot and go to Manage, I should be able to see that data. There you go. Now, I can also change the views and while in Power Pivot. And I can also create some, add other tables, set some relationship, and create some KPIs, etc. But I want to keep it simple over here for this demo. So this is good enough for me. I want to go to start building my views now. So we saw Power Query, we saw Power Pivot. Power View is the new way to build visualization in Excel. So to do that, I will say Insert, and from the ribbon, I will select Power View. Selecting Power View will add a new tab, Power View 1 at the bottom, if you see, a new tab, and also create a new canvas for me so I can start creating my reports. I'll just quickly close this workbook queries over here. I don't need that. So got a much more expanded field. So on the right-hand side, there is a panel, Power View Fields. This Power View Fields lists all of the tables data that is available for me to build the report. In this case, I have only one table, and all the fields that are available is listed under that. So the aim that I have today, that I want to build a report, sales by sale period. So the two fields that I want to select, sales period and total sales. Now, as I select these columns on my canvas, Power View has already painted a visualization. This is a tabular column. I'm just going to expand this a little bit. Now, this is the default visualization, but there are several options for me to change the visualization. If I go to table, I can go and make it a card view. I can select a bar or a column chart. Actually, you know, I'm interested in making it a line chart. So I'm going to say line chart. So the visualization now changes to a line chart showing me total sales by sale period. This is great. I got a big picture. I want to see how individual resellers did during the same period. So to do that, what I'm going to do is drag and drop my reseller field into a open space in my canvas, and also, like, you know, position it accordingly. So dragging drop the reseller gives me a list of all the resellers that are available. Now, I want to make it as a filter so that when I click on some of these, my line chart over here changes. So to do that, while selecting the table, from the ribbon, I'll select Slicer. Doing so makes these reseller values, each of these, as a filter. Now, if I want to see how AdventureWorks did for the same period, selecting AdventureWorks from the resellers, the report changes over there to show that, you know, how the AdventureWorks did. If you can see, the AdventureWorks did pretty well in week 7 of Q2. And Contoso, however, did better with week 6 of Q2. So we could, again, do some analysis from the bigger picture. So selecting that eraser over there clears all the filter and brings it back to my original view. So now once I'm happy with that, I can go and change the title, sales by sale period. And I will also go and change the tab here. I'll rename the tab to I'm happy with that. Now the sheet one is redundant for me. It's really not needed. It serves no purpose. So I'm just going to go and do it. Now, once I do this, I can just go and save my report. Now, one of the things that I want to show you here is if I go to Power Query, I use Power Query to go and get the data from an Excel sheet, right? Now, if I want to share the Power Query, I can do so by looking at, going to workbook queries over here and hovering over my query on the right side, all the workbook queries. If I go to the ellipsis on that, you see the send to data catalog. Selecting that, I can upload this to my SharePoint Online so that other users can make use of the query and build their own visualization. They are not stuck with my visualization. All the work that I did to bring the data from different places and using Power Pivot to build a relationship and KPIs, etc., that's applicable for many of my teammates, let's say. That's all. That part of the legwork has been done by me. The visualization, they can run with it. They can also add other data sources and make changes as necessary for their purposes as well. So I'm just going to cancel out of this for now. So this is, we looked at Power BI side, we looked at Power BI Q&A, and we looked at some of the reports and capabilities over there from natural language query processing perspective. And we used simple plain old English, and Power BI understood that and gave us some visual representation. Now, coming back to my presentation, as much as we saw about Power BI, the Power BI is changing. It's not changing conceptually from what you saw so far, right? It's not going to be a whole new beast. It's changing from current add-on model to a freemium model. You get a free version with a certain feature set. If you like it and you want to do more with it, then there is the Power BI Pro version, which is available for roughly $10 per user per month. Now, this, while simplifies the scope for Microsoft, it helps you to get going with cool new BI features. Target for this new SKU is Q2 2015, so we are almost there. We should be having it for GA soon. From a feature set perspective, in the free version, you would still get natural language query with Q&A, mobile apps for Windows and iOS, scheduled data refresh, etc. If you do decide to upgrade, you get higher data capacity. It changes from 1 GB to 10 GB per user. We also get live interactive query, interactive dashboard, catalogs, data catalogs, where I shared the queries earlier. Those will be available with the Power BI Pro. Diving into some of the feature set and tools, the new Power BI will offer forecasting features. So based on the historical data that we have collected, we could see how the future would be. Now, we can also do hint casting, that is looking back from current position and see how the engine would have predicted the near past. Now, why would we want to do that? This gives me an opportunity to tweak the metrics that goes into my forecasting so that I can make the forecasting as accurate as possible within the given variables. This forecasting and hint casting is based on a suite of statistical methods for time series prediction called exponential smoothing. This is pretty popularly used in financial world and to do the forecasting of numbers. Now, using the same engine, we can also do some what-if analysis. We can apply some standard deviation and to see a band of error margin. So we can plan for the best and worst cases. Power BI Dashboard is new feature that is available in preview today and will be available with Power BI Pro licensing. This is not a free feature. You need to buy the Pro licensing for making use of dashboards. Dashboard helps to bring together different logically connected reports and providing a consolidated view on a single page. So the live Power BI dashboard could show visualization and KPIs from data that resides both on-prem as well as in the cloud. It also has a natural language query capabilities built in. We can type our questions and receive answers from the data in the form of interactive visualization that we just saw in the other demo. And if we like it, we can pin that visualization to the dashboard. We could explore the data further by drilling through the dashboard and the underlying reports, discovering any new insights. And if we like it, we can pin it back to the dashboard again. So we can monitor performance going forward. The visualization is also further enriched within the new Power BI with combo charts, tree maps, gauges, etc. It gives us other opportunities to make our visualization better. Power BI Designer is a new tool to query, analyze, and build visualization for us. And this is in Power BI Preview. Now, where would I use Power BI Designer? Typically, I would use the user with older version of Excel would find using Power BI Designer very handy. So I have come across various clients where IT has not deployed Excel 2013 for various different reasons. The business users, though, wants to create Power BI report, and they ask me, can I use my Excel 07 or Excel 2010 that they have installed? Now, in such situations, you could make use of Power BI Designer and build your report. While Excel and Excel Self-Service BI within Excel will still have the most feature set, the Designer comes handy to create reports independently. The Designer also comes with various connectors to different data sources. It has the ability to shape the data, perform analytics, and share the visualization to Power BI dashboard on SharePoint Online. So to do that, to get us started quickly, there are new out-of-the-box connectors for Salesforce, Zendesk, Marketo, Dynamics CRM Online. With an existing subscription to one of these services, we can log in for Power BI and get rich content in the form of dashboard and reports and data sets right from these online SaaS providers. Getting these reports and sharing it on the Power BI dashboard gives our executives and business users, decision makers, a single place to go to and see all our reports. Also in the new Power BI, we can connect live to on-premises analysis services data sources. We do not have to copy those sensitive data outside of the corporate data centers, but yet create those visualizations that could be securely accessed from anywhere and on any device. The Power BI connector for analysis services creates secure connection to SQL Server analysis services from Power BI, and Power BI, and when users view the Explore the dashboard and reports, the system will interactively query these on-premises cubes to fetch the data using the user's credentials. With this hybrid solution, we can continue to manage and secure our data on premises, removing the need to have data reside in the cloud. Current Power BI implementation provides for refreshing the reports in SharePoint Online through scheduled data refresh, which pulls the data with connections set up that required for us to do on the corp side. Now, the new Power BI introduces REST APIs that would help to, these REST APIs would help to manage the data sets for us. With this, we can create apps that will push the data as it changes on the source data stores. Currently, from what we can do perspective, we can modify the data set by adding, removing columns, creating tables, relationship, and updating the data. From authentication and authorization perspective, it works very similar to the SharePoint app model that was introduced in SharePoint 2013, if you are familiar with that and have used already. If not, the app that we build, we do one-time registration of that app with SharePoint Online, which internally uses Azure Active Directory and ACS. And by way of registering the app, we get a app secret, app ID, and a auth code back. And during runtime, we pass the auth code along to Azure ACS Active Directory first, and that will issue a token. And we pass the token along to our Power BI in SharePoint Online, and then make the operation on the data set. This is the OAuth 2 way of handshake. So it's consistent with what has been within SharePoint 2013. So demo time again. So let's take a look at some possibilities for us. So if I'm in my Power BI site over here on the top right corner momentarily, you might have noticed earlier, like introducing Power BI dashboard, try it now. So clicking on that, it will set up your Power BI preview and make it available. I've done that already and opened that in a new tab. So going over that, you see the dashboard is a sample dashboard that is uploaded here. and this is in a preview mode right now. This dashboard brings together all the different reports on a single pane. Now, I can go and create a dashboard, say sales analysis. And once I create the dashboard, I can pull the data reports from different sources. For in this case, I have few different reports that is already created here. So I will say gross sales by date. I go to that report, and you see that I have a stack bar chart over here. So I'm going to select that report. As I select it, there's a pin over here. By pinning it, see, I'm hovering over that. It says pin to your dashboard. So yes, I like it. I want this. I will pin this to dashboard. And if I go back to my report dashboard over here and refreshing it. So there you have. I went to a report that I had already created. I pinned it to my dashboard. Now, I could also go and pick data from other reports. Let's say discount, profit, sales by month. It's a report that I created. Out of these, like, this report over here, which has a way for me to compare the discounts, profits, etc. I like that. I want that to be part of my dashboard. So select the report. Again, I have the pin up here. So I go and select the pin. So pin to the dashboard. There is a confirmation that shows up on the right top. Now, if I go back to my analysis dashboard, refresh, it should refresh automatically. Actually, for some reason, it's not happening. Okay, let's try again. I go back to discount. So select the report, pin it, pinned, and I go back to, there you go. So the discount profit sales report has been pinned to my dashboard. Now, this is great. I worked with some of the reports that are already created by me. Now, what if I want to connect to some new data sets? So I could do so by going into the data sets. There's a plus sign over here, get data, clicking that. Now, you see that I have options to connect to many different data sources over here, starting from Excel workbook to Google Analytics, Dynamics CRM, Salesforce. Now, if I did have the right credentials, I could go in and connect to these data sources and get the data. Now, for the purpose of this demo, I've already connected to CRM sales, Dynamic CRM sales, and once I establish the connection, it has brought back several reports that are available in CRM for me, so I can use that. So Dynamic CRM sales is the report. So I can select that and go into looking at my reports that are downloaded from CRM Online. Now, once it refreshes, I can the experience will be the same. As you see, these are the reports that were available in CRM, and now it's available to me in SharePoint Online on my in my tenant. So of this report, let's say like I want to estimate it versus actual revenue trend over here. I kind of like that. I think that's useful for my audience. I select that. Again, I can go and pin it. Pinning it is, again, I get a confirmation. If I go back to my sales analysis dashboard, there you go. We have my new report that I have pinned to my dashboard. So this way, I'm stitching together different reports so that they all show up in this pane here. So whether the data is in my Excel sheet or within my Oracle or SQL Server within on-prem, I can bring all these things together, or even for SaaS CRM, right? As I brought over here, different data sources, different reports, I bring together all in one dashboard. Now, once I build the dashboard, I can go and share it with anybody from my team or with my executives. This share option, this feature set is consistent with the SharePoint 2013 sharing features. So getting back, I'll just skip through that. So what we did in this demo was to create a dashboard and bring in some previously created reports using going into that report and pinning it. I also showed you different connectors available for us, and I connected to CRM, brought some report from CRM directly in here. But as I connected to CRM also has a dashboard. That dashboard is also made available to me. If you see the Sales Manager Dynamics over here, if I select that, this is a dashboard that is available in CRM. And that dashboard was also available for me, made available for me in SharePoint Online. So our business users do not have to go through several systems now to pull the data and do the connection. We can help them out by bringing it all together in one SharePoint Online dashboard. So that's from the demo perspective. So let's get back into my presentation. So we saw self-service BI and what we can do with Power BI Online. While Corp BI provides for managed authoritative source for corporate reporting, Excel and self-service BI provides for an agile way to discover and explore the data for us. Excel being so omnipresent has the benefit of being, not yet another tool that you need to deploy, manage, and train, and for me to learn as an end user. So where would I use Power BI? I would use this for prototyping, maybe those projects where reports are changing frequently, or for creating ad hoc reporting. Where I would not use this, where there is large sets of data to be analyzed or real-time analysis required. In those cases, I would go with traditional organizational BI. They are built for real-time analysis and performance, actually. So I would go for those services managed through IT. So that is it from me today. As we close in on this session, I would like to highlight some of the upcoming Lighthouse events. If you want to learn more about, mobile device management and rights management capabilities in SharePoint Online and Azure, so tune in, look at our Twitter, Lighthouse Twitter, or LinkedIn pages. There are events that are coming up, webinars that are coming up, delivered by my colleagues. You will definitely find it interesting. There is also a Microsoft Experience Center that's coming up in June. Even in Microsoft Experience Center, you can have a first-hand experience of Office services with latest Windows hardware and see how it all comes together to help you with your everyday work. Now, also, I want to remind you that at Lighthouse, we have half-day workshops on everything cloud, that's Azure and Office 365. So if you want to know more, explore the possibilities, please contact us to arrange for one of these sessions. Again, these are free sessions designed to help you out with your real case scenarios. So please make use of that. So with that, I will take any questions out there, Tasha, for the session.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we are open for questions. If you'd like to ask a question, just a reminder, you may do so by clicking on the message button and you're typing your question into the box. And that's in the bottom left-hand corner of your viewer. You see the message button. We'll give folks a moment here to think about some questions.
Okay, and thanks, Sasha. I think I see a question in here already. So Suresh, the first question I'm seeing here is Power BI Preview available outside of the US?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So when Power BI Preview originally brought out a few months ago, it was available only within the United States. It's as of couple of weeks ago. It's available in about 140 markets, actually. Not only available in 40 markets, it supports 44 languages, Chinese, Hindi, French, you name it, right? It's pretty good, actually. The way it works is Power BI detects your language based on your language preference on your computer, and it automatically switches to that language, actually, so it is transparent to you. It's pretty cool that way.
Okay, and it looks like I see another question here. If I were to use Power BI Designer, will I get the same functionality as using Excel to create reports?
Yeah, so answer is no. While you can have quite a bit of those functionalities, there are some that is not available. So typically what happens is if you have seen your internal data sources, SharePoint, SQL Server, Oracle, these field names, table names, etc., are not for user consumption. They probably have 0x80 underscore, the domain name, the company name, dash, underscore, something else, the field name, etc., right? It usually is not very user friendly. So if using the same thing, it would hamper with the natural language query. So what we do, if we had Excel, when we query this data from different data sources, we could also assign some synonyms to this column so as to help our users to use the natural language query. Now, that possibilities of adding synonym to assist the Q&A is not available with Power BI Designer. And also, the ability to share the query, which I did, I showed you with my demo earlier, that is also not available with Designer as of today. But Designer is evolving. Every month, there is something new that is added. It's changing pretty fast. So some of these may come up, folded into Power BI Designer, but today, it's not as powerful as Excel.
Okay, and I think we have time for at least one more question. So if I'm an existing Power BI customer, what changes with regard to the Power BI preview?
So from an existing Power BI and Office 365 user's perspective, transition should be pretty transparent. They should not be too affected over there. So if you have a subscription already, it should fold you into Power BI Pro. If the subscription ends, you'll be continue to use Power BI, but the free version of it. And if you do renew the subscription, you will be going into the Power BI Pro and making use of the dashboard and sharing the query, etc.
Okay. And there's one last question here. Is an Office 365 E3 license required for all that you demonstrated?
So E3 license so enterprise license would be required. So that part is not very clear so far. So if you have an E1, E3, E4, you should be able to get the free feature. And you should be able to get that enhanced version for additional dollar amount. But that again will be, some new announcement will be coming soon on that. What I will do is I will updates with a resource links for the slides and make it available for you, so you can look at those links and get the latest information on licensing updates.
Okay. Suresh, that's it. Those were all the questions right now.
Okay, so thanks again. Thanks for joining me and Lighthouse for this Power BI presentation. Hope this was useful for you. If you do have other questions or if you want to chat about Power BI, please do contact me at sural@lighthousecs.com. Send me an email. Use my Twitter handle @handdat to reach out, or just look me up on LinkedIn and send me an email over there. I'll be very happy to answer and help you out with your questions over there. And again, thank you very much for joining us, and looking forward to our other meetings in the future. Thanks again. Take care. Bye.